whoredom. And let's get into this story. With Al Pacino opening up about cruising. Now, cruising, I know it is controversial. I know a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about it. And I know it was like a big controversial film. It was before my time. However, I like it because we get to see, because of the whole leather scene, a lot of the homosexual interactions. I just like the gayness of that film. But I get why it's deemed controversial, because William Friedkin was putting something that was near and dear within the gay community on blast, and people were kind of looking at, especially when it came down to, during the whole AIDS crisis and stuff that was going on, how gay people or homosexuals were being looked down upon at that time. But the overall theme of the film, I actually like, and seeing like old New York, which I never got to witness growing up. So like, that's why I like movies like that. I like movies like The Warriors. I like just watching, or any early Scorsese movies like Taxi Driver and things of that nature. I just love seeing like the overall aesthetic of old New York. So now he's basically opening up. Al Pacino's opening up about it. And from what I never know, he never really spoke on, the criticisms and the controversy that was levied against the film. And the movie came out in 1980. And he basically said he agrees with all the criticisms. So in his new memoir, Sonny Boy, the Oscar winner admitted he found the movie exploitative to the LGBTQ community upon its release, revealing that he donated his pay from the William Friedkin helmed film to various charities. He explained that he was interested in pushing the envelope, but the project became very controversial during its production, with protesters at set almost every day concerned the film would depict the LGBTQ community in a negative light, according to people. Now, loosely based on the 1970 Gerald Walker novel, Cruising stars Pacino as Detective Steve Burns, who goes undercover in New York City's S&M bars to catch a serial killer that's viciously murdering the city's gay men. Pacino found Cruising exploitative once it was released in 1980, and he ultimately remained quiet instead of promoting the film. He said, "I took the money, and it was a lot, and I put it in an irrevocable trust fund." This is what he explained. He said, "I gave it to charities, and with the interest, it was able to last a couple of decades. I don't know if it's eased my conscience, but at least my money did some good." The actor noted that he didn't want to make it a PR stunt. He said, "I just wanted one positive thing to come out from that experience." Friedkin, who died at age 87 last year, previously admitted Cruising was not the best foot forward for the gay rights movement, but I never intended the film to be critical of gays, as he spoke to the Wrap in 2013, saying that "I just thought the S&M world would make a good backdrop for a murder mystery. But I did not in any way mean for it to reflect the gay lifestyle. I understood at the time that people were trying to achieve gay rights were not going to appreciate such a tough picture. It's still very tough, very hard-edged and ambiguous." So while on one hand, I love the artistic expression that it took for that film, and the fact that they were exploring S&M and that whole world, and the mine shaft and the ramrod and all those leather bars, because back in the day in New York we had a ton of the leather bars. I don't even think we have one. Oh wait, we have the Eagle. So so I think that's like literally the only, off the top of my head, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, but I feel like the Eagle is the only place in New York that we have that is the only leather bar in New York. And we used to have a bunch, but we used to have a lot of gay bars and clubs and stuff in New York. And sporadically, we still have a couple of them. But back in those days, it was a little edgier. And I could totally understand that William Friedkin just saw something and was like, you know what, this would be, I think a lot of people just think in a way of like, oh, we need something controversial. We need something. And so that way we can get people interested in watching this movie, not thinking about how it's going to affect marginalized communities. Is, to me, the same argument that people have about what's his name, Aaron Pierre, who was cast in Green Lantern as Jon Stewart. People look at the comment as like, well, he's been always made a dark-skinned guy, but people in Hollywood are probably looking at him as like, he's got these green eyes, which works perfect. He's very much a good actor. He's very piercing, and he can bring that sort of thing to the thing, but not realizing the other side, how it affects other people who have an issue with colorism. It's the same thing with this situation, is the fact that you're not realizing that, okay, by taking this on, and the gay community is trying to get rights for our community and not be treated like we're the ones who brought HIV and AIDS to the forefront, and we're going around spreading this disease and trying to kill people, or and all the negative connotations that come with being LGBTQ plus. And here this movie comes along and is giving the other side ammunition to hate us even more. So I can totally get why people feel the way they feel. But me personally, I mean, I guess maybe I don't have no ties to it, because 1980, it was like, I don't think I wasn't even born. So with this sort of thing, it's just like, I totally understand. I was like, it was before my time. So I have no connection to why people would feel the way they feel. But I can have empathy, and I can understand why people feel the way they feel about this movie. So I say all this to say, you know what? Shout out to Al Pacino for finally speaking out. That I'm glad that he's finally getting his side of the story out in his memoir. And he's speaking out on a film that was deemed, and still is, I guess, in so many ways, controversial. I remember at one point James Franco tried to do a whole thing of the missing footage that was from the original film, and he decided to film it. I rolled my eyes so hard at that mess, because it was just like, here you go. Now talk about exploitative. That mess was exploitative. But y'all have a right to feel how y'all feel, especially with the whole William Friedkin thing. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.